Some people don't realize that they've lost trust in themselves until they make a promise and suddenly hear a whisper. That whisper on the inside, it's a painful feeling. It's painful when your own words stop becoming believable to you. When the alarm goes off and a part of you already knows you're going to hit the snooze button. You say, I'll start tomorrow, but you already know on the inside that that ain't gonna happen. And I think one of the most painful experiences a person can have is actually not failure, but one of the most painful experiences is realizing that you no longer feel safe in your own consistency. And after enough self-betrayal, something dangerous begins to happen internally. You stop trusting your own intentions. You stop believing your own promises. You stop feeling emotionally safe with yourself. By the way, I'm Aaron. And if you're new here, I help people rebuild how they see themselves so that they can stop emotionally surviving life and actually start living it. So if that sounds good to you, hit that subscribe button and hang out with me. Many of you watching this are exhausted from constantly starting over with yourself. It's not because you're incapable, it's not because you're weak, but because somewhere along the way, you've provided enough evidence that you abandon yourself whenever discomfort enters the room. And this is the part most people misunderstand about confidence. Confidence is not loudness. It's not pretending to be fearless. And no, it's not acting unbothered. Real confidence is much quieter than that. Real confidence is the feeling of knowing if life gets painful, if emotions get heavy, if fear tries to rear its ugly head, I will not disappear from myself anymore. And you do not build that confidence through motivation alone. You build it through evidence. Throughout the series, we've been uncovering all the ways people abandon themselves without realizing it. Part 1, you confronted the cost of self-abandonment. In Part 2, you faced the inner voice shaping your identity every day. And in Part 3, you saw the mask you built to survive. But awareness alone does not transform you. Awareness is the mirror, but embodiment is the transformation. And today is where everything becomes real or just stays intellectual. Because healing is not just understanding your patterns, healing is interrupting them. In real moments, messy and uncomfortable moments. The moments where your old identity wants to take over again. That's where self-trust is built. Not through one giant breakthrough, but through hundreds of tiny moments where you stop letting yourself down. You stop leaving yourself behind. Many think confidence comes first. Once I'm confident, here comes action. But life usually works in reverse. Our actions create evidence, and our evidence creates confidence. That means confidence isn't something that we wait to feel. It's something that you build one kept promise at a time, one conversation at a time, one boundary at a time, one difficult decision at a time. This is why affirmations don't fully work for people who distrust themselves. Because when it comes to confidence, while words matter, evidence matters more. You can repeat, I believe in myself, until you're blue in the face. But if your behavior keeps communicating that I disappear under pressure, your nervous system will believe your behavior over your words every single time. I'm gonna say this, and I want you to never forget this. Identity listens more to repetition than intention. And every action leaves evidence while your identity is watching. It's watching who you become under pressure. It's watching whether you stay or disappear again. Every action casts a vote. Speak honestly instead of performing, there's a vote. Rest instead of abandoning your body, there's a vote. Stop people pleasing, there's a vote. Follow through after you said you would, there's a vote. In the confidence ballot box. And eventually the vote becomes identity. So I guess our first lesson here is self-trust is built not emotionally, but behaviorally. And this is why people stay stuck for years. Because they keep waiting to feel confident before acting differently. But confidence doesn't come before action. In fact, confidence is often a result of surviving the things that you thought you couldn't handle. That means confidence didn't come first, courage came first. Discomfort came first, vulnerability came first. And then confidence slowly grows afterward. Many have the order backwards. Once I feel ready, I'll finally change. When in reality, you move first and readiness catches up. This is why growth feels terrifying in the beginning. Because your old identity tends to interpret new behavior as danger. And the thing is, even healthy behavior can become emotionally unsafe whenever dysfunction becomes familiar. That's why boundaries are uncomfortable at first. Rest is uncomfortable at first. Honesty is uncomfortable at first. Stillness is uncomfortable at first. And it's all because we learned survival before we learned safety. And healing requires retraining what your body believes is normal. Avoidance quietly destroys self-trust because every time you avoid the difficult conversation, your nervous system notices. Every time you know you need rest, but you keep pushing, your nervous system notices. Every time you betray your boundaries just to keep somebody happy, your nervous system notices. And over time, those moments create emotional instability because now you no longer know if you'll protect yourself when discomfort comes. You don't know if you're gonna follow through, if you're gonna speak honestly. You don't know if you're gonna stay aligned once fear enters the room. And eventually, you stop trusting your own strength. That's why procrastination, it's deeper than productivity. Sometimes procrastination is fear. Fear of judgment, maybe fear of failure or disappointment. Maybe it's fear that if you actually try, you'll discover that you are not who you hoped you would be. And avoidance gives temporary relief, yes, but long-term self-distrust. Because every avoided moment now becomes evidence against yourself. That's why numbing behaviors become dangerous too. Overworking, scrolling endlessly, constant distraction, always staying busy. Because some people are not avoiding tasks, they are avoiding themselves. What about you? Are you avoiding silence? Are you avoiding reflection? Are you avoiding the emotional weight that you've been carrying for years? Healing requires confrontation. Not self-hatred, but confrontation. Talking about the kind that looks itself in the mirror and says, I will stop disappearing from myself in difficult moments. I remember hearing somebody once say that the fastest way to build self-trust is to keep one small promise to yourself consistently. Hold up, Aaron, not 10? Not 5 promises? And when I first heard it, something about that hit me deeply. Because self-trust is built the same way that it is destroyed, through repetition. Imagine somebody promises you something every single day. And every single day for years, they have broken that promise. Eventually, you're gonna stop believing them. And it's not personal, you don't hate them, but the pattern has become louder than their intentions. Ooh. Now imagine the same person starts quietly showing up consistent. There's no speeches and there's no dramatic transformation, just consistency. Little by little, trust starts returning. That's exactly how your relationship with yourself works. And some of you watching me, you're trying to rebuild your confidence through giant changes while still breaking tiny promises daily. But hear me. Those tiny betrayals matter. They matter more than you realize because your mind is always recording patterns. Your mind is always asking, can I trust this person to protect me when life gets hard? And healing begins the moment that you can finally start answering, yes, you can. One of the biggest lies people believe is that confident people are fearless. I don't believe they are. In fact, I believe that confident people, they still feel anxiety from time to time. They still feel uncertainty, they still feel discomfort. But the difference is, they have built a library of evidence that proves that they can survive that feeling. That's courage. Movement despite fear. And every courageous moment rewires our identity. Every time you speak honestly, even through a shaky voice, guess what? Your identity shifts because now your nervous system is learning something new. I can survive being fully myself. And that changes everything because many people are not afraid of failure. They're afraid that rejection will confirm that they are unworthy. Is that you? Do you hide? Perform, overthink, try to perfect everything, stay silent? Does perfection feel safer than vulnerability to you? If so, know this. Perfection never builds self-trust. Honesty does. And this is another shift that changes your life. People who trust themselves do not collapse every time something goes wrong. And I say wrong with quotations because often you can't see if something is wrong through the windshield. You gotta look through the rear view mirror. But they don't collapse when things go wrong simply because failure stops feeling like an identity sentence. It becomes feedback, redirection, growth. That's emotional maturity. When your nervous system no longer interprets every setback as proof that you're broken. People with low self-trust personalize everything. Failure feels like, see, I knew I wasn't enough. Rejection feels like, see, nobody truly wants me. Mistakes feel like, see, ruined just like I thought. But healed people interpret pain differently. They don't crumble every time life hurts because their worth is no longer hanging by the thread of external outcomes. And that begins to change everything because now life can challenge you without threatening your identity. And this is where the entire series comes together. The masks, the mirrors, the self-abandonment, the perfectionism, the performance. Underneath all of it was a person wanting to feel safe. It was a person wanting to feel loved. It was a person wanting to feel enough. And maybe for years you thought confidence meant becoming louder. Maybe you thought it meant becoming more impressive, more admired, and more successful. But I've come to tell you that confidence was never about becoming more impressive. Maybe confidence is about finally becoming the person that doesn't leave themselves behind. Maybe confidence is about becoming someone who stays even when emotions get messy, stays when fear shows up, stays when vulnerability becomes uncomfortable. Because healing is not becoming a better mask. Healing is becoming honest enough to remove one. And I pray the day for you to finally become someone who can stand beside yourself, to become someone who stops abandoning themselves every single time discomfort walks into the room. Because that's what real confidence feels like. It's not perfection, it's alignment. So now you stop asking yourself, how do I become more confident? And start asking yourself, how do I become someone that I can trust? Now growth becomes relational. And I created this series to challenge you to begin rebuilding your relationship with yourself. Maybe for you, it's through consistency. Maybe it's through honesty, or maybe it's through boundaries or having courage. Maybe it's through presence. But I know from personal experience that you can become the person who listens to their emotions without dismissing them. You can become someone who protects your peace without sacrificing it for approval. You can become someone who tells the truth instead of performing what feels acceptable. And you can become someone who understands that the goal was never perfection, but the goal is integrity between who I am internally and how I live externally. It's never about being loud, having a big ego, or being fearless. Confidence was always about self-alignment. And I speak over you that you are becoming the person that no longer disappears when discomfort enters the room. And you are rebuilding trust with the person buried underneath all of those survival patterns that you've been walking out. So for the next 30 days, stop asking yourself, do I feel confident today? And instead ask, did I build self-trust today? Did I tell the truth? Did I honor my boundaries? Did I keep my word? Did I stay present when discomfort showed? Did I abandon myself again? Or did I stay? Confidence isn't built in giant, life-changing moments. It's built in the quiet, ordinary ones. Always remember that growth is a journey. It's not a destination. I'm in it with you. And I'll see you on the next one.